When I was in the newspaper business for 33 years, my job was basically to look at the community, find the issues, and publicize them. The last 2.5 years in public relations, my job is similar. It's find the issues related to my client and publicize them. Basically telling the truth in each area, doing the best I can to inform the general public, similar. So the other day, a man comes to me and says, I'm a vintner. I've been doing wine all my life. I started off at Franciscan, one of the biggest wineries. And I'd like to have a tasting room downtown. I'd like to enter this downtown mecca. It's going to be a great downtown. What can you do for me? I said, well, can you tell me a little bit more? Can we do a little research? And it turns out he's the great-great-grandson of David Hudson, one of the pioneers that came here to the Napa Valley, one of the first people to come here and settle. Bear Flag Revolt, anybody hear about California? He was one of those guys, one of the first. This is the great-great-grandson of a pioneer. And he's fascinating when you talk about history, his personal family story, but also we got into his history as a vintner. Former director of the Napa County Farm Bureau, all this stuff. And I said, yeah, we can do this. We can establish your pedigree in downtown Napa. And so we got to writing stuff and working with the Register. We got, just the other day, last week's Chamber of Commerce mixer. Is anybody there? Okay. Yes. No, you weren't there. You were at the leadership. Yeah. So this came out in the Register, Cap Heritage. Here's Dan Cap and his wife. And all this stuff written by the Register correspondent came from our news release. The Register wrote the story, but they had the research that I worked with Dan on. So we're telling his story and establishing his pedigree downtown. And then just the other day, another guy came to me. He said, I've been in Napa 30 years. I was the golf pro at Meadowood. I did all these coaching things for young people in Napa. I'm pretty well known, but I've never been in business before. Can you help me out? And so I interviewed him. I went to his office and talked to his staff. 3 women, do a lot of work. I mean, they're always on the phone, getting people to just do insurance quotes. Hispanic. They're really going after the Hispanic market. And so I came away with a story that didn't talk about his lack of business knowledge. He certainly don't want to do that. But talking about his staff and his background in Napa. A lot of people know him. So this came out in the Register, and it's just, Robbie and his 3, he calls them his 3 angels. He really cares about his staff. He wants them to succeed too. And that came through in the article. So it's not a great photo. We could have done better, because it's just a setup. But the idea is we can take the non-experienced person and make him kind of a hero, really, for having the courage to do this and use established people on his staff. The other day, the Marketplace magazine came to me and they said, we'd like you to do a story about the distinguished young woman of Napa Valley. She's running for California Distinguished Woman. And her dad's a cardiologist at Queen of the Valley. Queen of the Valley wanted them to do this. So they paid me to do a story about this great young lady, Brittany Wong. I just sat down with her and her mom, and one accomplishment after another. Just an amazing young lady, 17 years old. It was just a privilege to do the story. And, getting in a magazine is not that hard, but doing a great service for the public and informing people how great their young people are in this community is a public service. The other guy came to me. He's been in the hardware business in Napa for 25 years. His parents came here to do this and established their business in 1955, and they have a pioneer background. And he's saying, I've been giving back to the schools. I've been working real hard at my business. We have 5 stores, 3 in Napa County, 1 in Woodland, 1 in Healdsburg. We're not getting any publicity. And we were doing these wonderful things for the community and public, and nobody's writing about us. So we did the research, and we interviewed him. We got all of his background, all of his community strengths. And the story came out from humble beginnings, Central Valley Builders Supply builds success. And the Register business editor wanted the story because he survived the recession. She said, would you please find out, how did he do it? A lot of stores went out of business in '08. This guy went up in business. How did he do it? So if you read the story, you get business advice to other businesses. Mike Dunn hired me to pretty much do a publicity campaign, and we based it on community service. What does he have that the big boxes don't have? He's got these guys. They meet you at the front counter. They're extremely knowledgeable and helpful. And they're local. All these guys came from Napa, so we interviewed them. We talked to all the people that work there, and they talked about their background in Napa, how much they love this community. And we interviewed celebrities in the community, people who everybody knows. Who do we have here? The mayor, holding a paintbrush in front of the sign. City councilwoman, Kevin Diadamo, the tire guy. Everybody in town knows him. Tad Fuller over at Exertech. Anybody who exercises there knows this guy. So with Christoph's help, we got these great photos and an ad campaign that really established the fact these are local guys. They're centrally located. They know everything. More service than the big boxes give you. Give them a shot. So this worked for him. Sometimes a nonprofit agency will ask me, can you get me on the front page? Can we get something more than those little blurbs that we usually get stuck with? And so I talked to Kevin Courtney about it because the Aldea had a program to help identify mental health problems in young people. They called it First Aid for teens. And here it is. By working with Kevin, by calling him up and giving him a press release and answering his questions, he wrote the story. It was a story by the city editor about the exact thing Aldea wanted. So, I accomplished my job and informed the community. This woman collects school supplies for teachers. She gets them from all over the country. They just give it to her, and she subsidizes school budgets. She helps the taxpayer by helping teachers provide supplies in the schools. Well, nobody was writing about it. She won a Jefferson Award. Does anybody know the Jefferson Awards? And so he said, okay, we'll write the letter. And this came from me. I actually wrote it, and they gave me a byline because it's an opinion. I can do that for any customer, any client. You want to give your opinion of something? I can do that for you. Some of you may remember Sean Loudon. He was in this group. He's a success today, according to Christoph, partly because, maybe a little bit because, we exposed him to the community like this. And all we did was talk to him. He came over. I interviewed him, did a story. Jennifer wanted it because business was talking to business. So that's just a taste of what I do. I've got a bunch of, this should be more professionally produced. I should have it on the big screen. I realize I have some work to do. But these are just samples of what I can do. And I want you to think outside the box and dream. What do you need? Who do you want to reach? And what is the story you want to tell about your business? Or somebody you know. You may know people out there who have a great story to tell, but they've never connected that to public relations. I could be your connection.